The Swarm Cluster Services node is an integrated services software application that centralizes the services and management information needed to install, upgrade, and monitor a Swarm storage cluster. This is all deployed on a single accessible server with shared configuration. The CSN simplifies the network services and Caringo Swarm installation process for administrators who are not proficient in Linux-based products or for environments where the network services are not easily available. At this point, we're ready to deploy the Caringo Services node. We will execute the script first CSN boot to do that. This will be a primary CSN in a dual network configuration. We now enter the IP address of the front side interface for the CSN. And we then enter the cluster IP address. This is the address that's used to access the cluster if an SCSP proxy is running. Now we enter the networking information for the subnet mask and network gateway. And then we enter the network address that will be assigned for the Swarm cluster. At this point, the CSN is going to probe to confirm which interfaces are going to be used for the external or client-facing and internal or Swarm cluster networks. This can take a little time, so you need to be patient with it as it performs its probes. At this point, the interface probes are complete. Both are correct, so we accept the defaults. And now we enter the IP addresses for external name servers. This will be used for DNS for host name resolution. Now we enter the sources for time synchronization. The time protocol that we use is Network Time Protocol, or NTP. Now we need to give a name to the Swarm storage cluster. These names should use DNS fully qualified domain name format. We accept the default group for multicast communications within the cluster. And now we have a chance to confirm that all of the settings we've entered are correct. If they are, we say yes, and we allow the configuration script to continue. At this point, the script will reconfigure the system to act as a Caringo Services node appliance, and we'll touch all the files necessary at the operating system layer to make that happen. This is another step that can take a little bit of time, so we just have to be patient with it as everything is executed. And once that configuration is complete, the CSN system will be rebooted, as you can see here. And this is just an operating system reboot with our configuration choices dropped into place. And at this point, the CSN is up and running. And you're able to log in and confirm that the interfaces were given the assignments that you chose. And you can run some simple connectivity tests with ping to make sure that the interfaces are aligned. That concludes the CSN first boot. From here, booting an initial 3-system cluster is a simple process of plugging in the servers, attaching the network cables, and powering the servers on. For expediency, we are only showing the initialization of a single machine. The process is the same for the initial cluster deployment, as well as for adding cluster capacity. Make sure all the power and networking cables are plugged in appropriately, and then he'll boot the system to have it join the cluster. The server goes through its normal post. You'll notice that the system is designed not to use RAID. We boot on simple JBOD. Note we've displayed the swarm splash. The swarm image is going through its normal boot up procedure. As it goes through this process, you'll notice it'll check for certain things such as time server availability. We also go through a robust process of entropy generation to make sure that our UUIDs are unique. At this point, the node is online and ready for use in the cluster.